Pancasila is Indonesia's emblem. Pancasila comprises two old Japanese words originally derived from Sanskrit. Panca means five and sila means principles, so Pancasila means five principles. It is the official, foundational philosophical theory of the Indonesian state and the innermost essence and content of the Indonesian national identity. Pancasila and Indonesia need one another, complementary and closely connected to one another. Pancasila without Indonesia would lose its context, and Indonesia without Pancasila would lose its meaning. In other words, Pancasila is the national identity of Indonesia. From this course, I learned the elements of Pancasila are the integration of Indonesia, such as the basic pattern for the integration of Indonesia is Pancasila, and the Indonesian values, such as the principle of human equality, communality, familiarity, cooperation, social justice, and democracy. I also learned there are three characteristics of Pancasila as the national identity of Indonesia: pluralism, multiculturalism, by means a situation which people of different social classes, religious, races, etc. are together in a society but continue to have their different traditions and interests. The second is the equality, which is the pluralistic and multicultural reality. The interaction, communication, and relation between various elements of the Indonesian. And the third is national characteristic, which is the general vision of the Indonesian national identity. For me personally, this course is really unique and interesting and also fun to learn, because I could know more about what Pancasila means for me and my country. I think Pancasila is my culture, my way of life, and my perspective. I want to make Indonesia to be a better place, so I want you to learn to help to make the change.
Democracy is sometimes referred to as rule of majority. Democracy is a system of processing conflict in which outcome depend on what participants do but no single force control what occur and its outcomes. The uncertainty of outcome is inherent in democracy. The devolution of power from a group of people to a set of rules. Guided democracy was the political system in place in Indonesia from 1957 until the new era began in 1966. It was brainchild of President Sukarno and was attempt to bring about political stability. Sukarno believed that Western-style democracy was inappropriate for Indonesia's situation. Instead, he sought a system based on the traditional village system of discussion and consensus, which occurred under the guidance of village elders. Democracy in Indonesia encountered numerous challenges, starting from Sukarno's old order to the new order. When Sukarno ruled for more than 30 years, the government implemented a system that culminated in bloodshed, but in the Reformation era, learning from past mistakes, then the new government, assisted by the people, began to rebuild the system, which resulted in the establishment of several new political parties. As the principle of democracy is for the people, by the people, the Indonesian president election, which takes place every 5 years, involve participants from the citizens, thus create a sentiment of unity among Indonesians. If done correctly, an election can be considered as a fair way of choosing a leader, because the selection is supposed to be one with the most vote. Indonesia democracy is important as it has impact to the country's independence, which is what makes Indonesia as what we saw today.
The rule of laws is a law belief that used to rule the nation. It is not based on decision of separate government. It is based on 4 principles. The government officials and all citizens are being held under one law. The laws are clear, publicly, and applied evenly to protect the safety of person and property of human rights. The process of how the law is passed, managed, and enforced is fair, efficient, and accessible. The justice system must become carried complete, discreetly, ethical, sovereign legislative body and a neutral body, adequate resource, and reflect the character of communities that we serve. The problem is, in Indonesia we have problems in upholding the law. One of the reasons is that corruption is predominant in the law system and the law enforcement themselves. Since the law enforcement of the law is compromised, the legal system will be chaotic. All the presidents of Indonesia has tried to improve the law enforcement, but nothing has much changed over the past few years. The first problem with the chaotic law is corruption is always everywhere. Many people think they could solve everything by using money. The money can be used to bribe the city officials, judges, or the law enforcement so that they could win the cases. That should not happen because the justice system is supposed to be equal and cannot be compromised. This may be because of the inadequate paid to the legal system. If they were paid adequately, maybe they could resist the temptation to receive the bribe. That may be one of the problems that Indonesia is trying to always solve. They didn't have the adequate resources to at least to compensate people back. The other problem because of the lack of human resources in justice system, that will be one of the factors that could lead the corruption and the fail of the justice system. Because we don't hire the people that is good for the job, like the one who's knowledgeable and firm. It's one of the reasons why there's so many injustice in Indonesia. According to a law professor in Indonesia, he pointed out that in the eyes of Indonesia students, that law degrees are completely worthless compared to the medical degrees or military schools. So that's why they always choose like medicine or other degrees besides law. There's another way maybe that could use to remedy this. We have to increase the standard of people getting into the law universities in Indonesia to ensure that only the top and brightest can be allowed to be part of the justice system. But last problem of this, because of the lack of enforcement of the rule of law, it will going to cause any economic and social consequences that will going to last a lot in the country. For example, it will going to fail to improve the living condition in Indonesia. Second of all, it's going to be making a lot of unemployment, and it will create chaoses everywhere in the country. In my opinion, I think we have to find a way to get the justice system back on track like America did. If we could at least follow America's example, we could at least find a better way to get through things, and we be able to live a little bit more with higher standard than any other underdeveloped country. Because right now, when I do a research on Indonesia most likely on the ratings of Afghanistan at some point, which is almost at the lowest, while America is in the top 10. We need to work harder to get the justice system back on track.
Human rights are the rights that every human being has since they were born, even since they are still in the womb. It is given by God. Considered as the gift from God, human rights are a basic entitlement that cannot be taken away by anyone. They characterize the human life and dignity. They are at the bottom of freedom, peace, and justice. They embrace all that man needs in order to remain human in political, economic, social, and cultural aspects in his life. Human rights in Indonesia are solved and boils down to Pancasila, which means that human rights are the guarantee of a strong philosophy of nation philosophy. Some human rights instruments in Indonesia included the 1945 Constitution, the MPR Decree number 17 on 1998, on Human Rights and the Law Number 39 on 1999 and its instruments called as Komnas HAM or the National Human Rights Commission. But as we all know, the implementation of human rights in Indonesia are still so far away from the expectation of people in Indonesia. There are still many violations of human rights that occur in our country, either in the name of particular institution or state. So, what do you think about human rights?
In Indonesia or?
In Indonesia or in your country?
So, in Indonesia, well, I think it's fine in Indonesia. I've not seen any controversy in respect to the human rights in Indonesia. In my country, in Australia, it's about the same. You don't have any that I see any really human rights issues. Of course, we have some issues like racism and sexism and things like that. But that I think occurs in every country. Sometimes a lot, sometimes a little. Yeah.
Have you ever felt that your human rights are being violated?
No. I think I get treated very well here. There's no real violation at all of my human rights. I'm quite happy here. There's no difference to what I feel here compared to when I am in Australia. It's quite nice. Yeah, it's a different country to Australia, and it can be very, the differences between Australia and Indonesia you see all the time. You obviously have the language is different, so it makes it hard to communicate with some people. People have a different culture. Obviously, your religion here is very much more predominantly Muslim country versus Australia, which is predominantly more Christian. So there's some differences around there. But I have no problem with that at all. The worst thing about Indonesia, though, is what I find is the traffic. There's a lot of cars on the road. But it's a lovely country to be in. So I'm quite happy here in Indonesia.